Connecting. Start screen. What up, welcome to live session. This is my binky, my man's binky. My wife gave it to me because I was just crying too much. So she's like, "Stop crying, you fool." She's like, so yeah, this is pretty cool. I have better looking teeth now. Like, yeah. See that? They're squeaky white. Do you know back in the days in Roman Empire, if you had white teeth, that means you were pretty much gargling with your own urine. Because if you gargle with your own urine, your teeth are white. So you don't have to go to doctor. You don't have to do any like Vico Vajdanti. Remember that powder that they stopped? That was the best. But all you have to do is just gargle, take your pee, gargle it, and you get squeaky white teeth. So yeah, that's a way to do it. Or I think they even did it with cow urine. But the thing is, cow urine is still used in certain Ayurvedic medicines. I actually took this one pill in Ayurveda back in like 2-3 years ago, and it said it has cow urine in it. But I mean, I took it because I mean it is a medicinal thing, and I just quickly took it. I swallowed it with the water. I'm like, whatever. It could be cow shit in there as long as it's doing something good for my body. I'm good. So yeah. So okay. So the first subject that I want to tackle is that video that I made of twin flames, right? The what was that title? Just is it twin flames or is it something fake or soulmates? So obviously, yes, a lot of experts came in who were talking about, well, I don't think you know what twin flames are, and I think you're misconstrued it in your understanding of twin flames. And I think they were right. I think they were absolutely right. So, I did more research on it, and one thing you got to understand about twin flames, it's obviously part of it was right. It doesn't have to be your lover, husband, wife. It could be anybody. But the way you guys are meeting, and you can fight, you may not like each other at times, but it's just that they are here to accelerate your spiritual growth, because that's the person, like when you come across, you always tend to understand life on a much higher level. Now, to understand twin flames really well, there's this one lady that commented on my video. I think her name was Swarna Lakshmi. I think you guys should check out her video on twin flames. I think she's very authentic. She knows what she's talking about. I don't know if she's here right now, Swarna Lakshmi, but she's the one who commented, and she's like, you really need to study deep into this from my thing, and you'll understand what's the difference between soulmates and twin flames. So I checked it out. It was very legit. But my whole thing was this, which I will still stick by it in this video, that my whole thing was separating illusion from this grandeur of twin flames and soulmates and spiritual flames that you guys come up with. Because when I do like my relationship readings, people say, I met this one person in 2012, and as soon as I met him just across the room, I felt this aura around them, and I felt like I was being drawn to them. I was being attracted to them. I still haven't forgotten that look. Who is this person? And they sent me their birthday. And this is the different case versus what I was talking about in my twin flame video. So right when I saw the girl's chart, this guy sent, most of the time guys are fascinated by anything which is beautiful and walking. But this girl had her ascendant and her moon in Rohini Nakshatra. And this girl's moon especially was in the second pada of Rohini Nakshatra. And this is another thing, and I couldn't really say if this was your twin flame or your soulmate. What happens with Rohini person Whenever you find someone who has moon in Rohini, ascendant in Rohini, they, or even Ashlesha Nakshatra, if moon is in Ashlesha Nakshatra, these people will pierce through you and they will draw you in like a honey to a honey badger. They will be drawn to this person like honey to bees, or bees to honey. They like Rohini Nakshatra people can make 20 people in a party feel like that they're soulmates or they're their twin flames. This is why it is such a fine line between twin flames, infatuation, okay, lust, sexual lust, for getting over head over heels. Because, and this is why, especially with Rohini Nakshatra, you gotta understand their eyes. Their eyes are everything. They always kind of work on their eyes. They always want to wear contact lenses to make themselves look different from other people. Same thing with the Ashlesha Nakshatra. Ashlesha Nakshatra people are very good with their eyes and they can see you, but Rohini especially. So when I saw this, I'm like, no wonder you were drawn to her. She has Rohini. She's gonna draw not only you, she's gonna draw 4 other guys that are there. They're gonna think the same thing. That this girl is my twin, this girl is my soulmate. Now, obviously, you can have a past life connection, a soulmate connection, even a twin flame connection with a Rohini person. There's no like a contract written that you can't be having twin flames with a Rohini person. That's not true. But when you look deeper into it, you can see that why this person was attracted to this person. It was this Rohini penetration that was going through. They can draw anybody in. Twin flame is different. Twin flame is more about, you know, finding this person who you feel absolute comfortable with in a get-go, but at the same time you suddenly feel like, why is it that I want to progress spiritually? Why is it that when I'm with this person I want to know something far beyond than what I know? You can't do that with certain people. Like this Rohini girl he met into, he was just in love or lust and just probably wanted to make her have his babies and just conquer her. These are all the things that guys and girls go through. How do I get this person so I can just have them? My God, I mean, it's like, imagine like Aishwarya Rai or Priyanka Chopra looking at you across the room. Obviously, of course, Aishwarya Rai won't do that anymore, but Priyanka Chopra or somebody, whoever, Katrina Kaif looking at you, oh man, I want you to be like, oh my God, you're my soulmate. You're my twin flame. Ah! You see the grandeur of illusion we see. But I think there are many good people who commented. I know this one other guy, this Alex guy, I believe, he commented about, he had some great things to say in that video about twin flames. But especially this one lady, Swarna Lakshmi, who had talked about her ascension and her meeting and how it really happened. Because I think this twin flame thing is far beyond just like some soulmate candy floss romance. It is something much more spiritually progressing with ascension. So that's something you gotta know. I'm trying to clear that my video was simply about separating illusion from reality. And that's most of the time. I would say 90% of the time is just something of that other person grabbed over your planet. And this could happen in twin flames too. If you study the charts of twin flames, you may see some things happening. But most of the time, usually that Rahu illusion is there. Rahu is somehow affecting this person's Mercury, which is memory. Because Rahu, when it captures, like when someone's Rahu captures your Mercury, Mercury is memory. Okay, like your relationship with that particular person, you'll have far more detailed memory of them versus anybody else that you dated if their Rahu wasn't over your Mercury. And over Moon, it creates that obsession. You can't get them off their mind. You have their photograph, their picture on your mind. But with Rahu, what happens is you're like, oh my God, I remember I did this, I went here, we ate this, and she told me this. And then what happened the next day? Like, you'll have a very strong memory of hanging out with this person. And you will not have the same memory if you met some old guy whose Rahu was over your Mercury. You're not going to remember it in the same way. You will remember it in a way that, oh yeah, I remember what you told me about this and this, but you're not going to constantly think of it. Why? Because human behavior, the bacteria within our body, they make us only think of the sexual progression, the reproduction. So what mainly we think of is, oh my God, I wish I could just have sex with her one more time. Oh my God, I wish I could do this. Because I feel like, and I don't know who said this. Actually, yeah, it was Robert Savoda's spouse in a video who once said that I think our body is just made up of bacterias, and bacterias created us so they can actually eat us more. I think that's why we were created. It was so funny she said that. And that's what it is. It's just that the bacteria inside us just want us to procreate. So we are always thinking of the person that we can procreate with. And if their planet was influencing, we are heavily attracted towards that only. Unless if, let's say, somebody is gay or lesbian, then they will be thinking about that same counterpart, like that girl that she met, and she can get her off her mind. You see that how this works. I may have come many people who may have had their Rahu, their Saturn, this or this over my moon or over my Mercury, but I'm not thinking about them. As a person, you'll always think about something that you want to procreate with. So never, always separate that illusion. Whenever you're like thinking of this two words, twin flames and soulmates, before you even say any of that, think what is happening astrologically, what is grabbing there. If it's Jupiter, if let's say their Jupiter was grabbing your moon, and then you cannot get them off that mind, if you cannot do that, then that shows the pure, perhaps spiritual connection, or that connection which is divine, more divine than anything else. And Saturn coming over your moon not only will make you feel very practical, realistic about everything, they actually make you look at life as it's the glass is half empty instead of half full. But also what happens with Saturn, it gives stability to your mind. So when somebody's Saturn is over your moon, you feel more grounded, which I forgot to mention in that last video. You feel like, okay, so this is where I am. This is who I am supposed to be. This is where my life is now. Okay. I can settle. So all these things happen with Saturn and all that. So just look into it more before you give this label of twin flames and soulmates to, your other half. Like, I was actually thinking about this quite a lot after I, saw some of these videos of this lady, Swarna Lakshmi. I'm like, man, my wife might actually be my twin flame, because her life and my life are very identical. Whatever happened to her at the age of 5, 8, 10, 12, her relationship within the family members are pretty much very, very identical to mine. How her education was stopped through certain things, how my education was stopped through certain things. And yet she suddenly got into like aliens, UFO, and spirituality, and I got into the exact same time. So when I actually thought about these things, I'm like, oh my God, my wife could actually be my true twin flame. And and then we're a normal couple. We argue, we fight, we love, we go out, we travel. It's a very practical, realistic relationship. Like, we're about to finally go on summer vacation in July, to Miami Beach, but and I'm gonna be going to Chicago too. But it just, when I finally looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, identical, like just our identical lives. And then when we both met into this one guy here in Virginia, his name was Carlos. He's a very, very intuitive, spiritual person. And he's like, oh my God, you guys have lived identical lives. And some of the things that he was saying were amazing. So when I connected that part with what I learned about the twin flame, I'm like, oh my God, I might be sitting here as part of the twin flame. When I met my wife, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, soulmates and then this or that. It's just that slowly, when I more found out about my wife, I'm like, my God. She has lived the exact same life as I have, like the exact same, thought process and everything. So you never know. I mean, I'm not gonna claim that we are. But again, we are both into the same thing. Like, she was in connection with the Pleiades and the things that she has experienced. And here I am trying to search for through David Icke and Jordan Maxwell or David Wilcock. I'm looking at like Palladians and Andromedans, and I'm studying that. And literally the same year when I, was studying these things, she was actually experiencing those things. So this is why. Oh my God, my nose is congested. So anyway, so that's that. So please look into it deeper before you, go and claim things. Now, the second subject that I want to talk about is the Pandora box that I opened from my last video of career in government and politics about Ashtakvarga. Ashtakvarga is it's a very, very unique and simple concept if you just know what you are looking at. Many times, like when I first started learning astrology, Vedic astrology, especially back in 2001 and 2, and not learning in a serious manner, but just looking, like my uncle used to send me my horoscope, a yearly horoscope, so he would mail it out from India. And there I saw these, obviously that North Indian chart. I'm like, whatever. I was like everybody else. I used to just flip over, okay, where's the written part? I want to see the written part. Okay, but I never realized how important those boxes were, the North Indian charts, and all these little box at the bottom with the bindus, right? We all ignored that. Even most of you probably just still ignore that. You're like, bindu, what the hell is this? Like numbers and then dots and zeros and one, whatever. Okay, go to the written part. Here it is. So I came across it and I didn't understand. And then finally, like back in 2005 or 2005, I think it was, when I called him up. I'm like, okay, what is this dotted thing? I don't understand this. What is this dotted thing? It's like, dotted things are your life. They're everything. And that's when I learned some of the Ashtakvarga details there. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So this is what this is. And I couldn't understand it because it requires some mathematical skills. But then when I really understood, when I came across Mark Boney, I really understood Ashtakvarga. See, Ashtakvarga, you can take a chart. Take somebody's chart, okay? Remove the planets and just study the Ashtakvarga squares. Like in my horoscope, in my software, I have Ashtakvarga in the outline. I can see the accumulated points that someone gets, and you can see exactly what's happening in this chart. You can see how much is this person saving more or spending more. Is this person focusing towards themselves or their spouse more? Is this person really focused towards their higher studies, their children? Like, you can see everything. Is this person going to focus towards their health versus, their wealth? All of these things you can just say without even looking at the planets. So Ashtakvarga is a system where a planet, wherever it sits, okay, it'll distribute certain points to the chart. Like Jupiter, which is the most benefic planet, will distribute 56 points. So wherever Jupiter sits, I don't care if it's in your first house, second house, third house, fourth house, it'll spread. He has these 56 numbers in his hand, okay, and he comes and sits in your chart and he throws them like that. And boom, all the numbers are like distributed across the chart. Then I believe Mercury is the second highest, and Mercury has, I believe, 48 points. Don't quote me on it. I think he has like 48 points. So wherever Mercury sits, let's say if it's in your 8th house, during your birth, he'll come and sit and it'll throw all these 48 points across. And if you divide those 56 by 12, or not divide them, I'm sorry, but if you look at the chart, some houses will get, let's say, the maximum you can get is 8 points by a planet. The minimum you can get is 0. Okay, 0 meaning there's no effect, and the planet will just not give you the effect that it should be giving you. So Jupiter may give 8 points in the 8th house, may give 4 points in the 2nd house, may give 0 points in the 5th house. So this is the Ashtakvarga system, and through this system mainly we use this for transit. So let's say if I'm looking at somebody's promotion or jobs, and I see the fact that okay, they're running this year, and this Mahanantra Dasha or this Chara Dasha is running, and then I see that Saturn, the actual 10th lord, is going to be coming into their 10th house. So now I go straight to the Ashtakvarga of Saturn. I want to see whatever points it had at your birth, how many points did it distribute to each house. So if, and I believe Saturn gets the lowest. It's like, what, 39 points it gives all throughout the chart. So you won't have too many high points. But if Saturn is transiting the 10th house, and let's say it gives at least 4, it is great. With Saturn, if you see 4, it is great. Like when I first saw my own Ashtakvarga, okay? When I first saw my Ashtakvarga, I was like, oh my God, why did I even look at my Ashtakvarga? I just thought, oh my God, this is going to be bad. I will never have money. I will never be successful. Just like you guys. Just like you guys, I was thinking this when back in 2005 or 6, when I finally understood my Ashtakvarga, and I looked at it and I'm like, oh, I was depressed. Literally, I was. I'm like, okay, man, I don't want to learn astrology anymore. You see how immature we think when we're like in our 20s and try to learn astrology? Unless you have a really mature planet or dasha is mature, you will look at it. Otherwise, you'll just be depressed. So then it kind of made me more obsessed about Ashtakvarga. So then I kept researching. I'm like, oh, I want to see something good. You see how our mentality is. This is why I don't discuss Ashtakvarga openly on YouTube as to what each things mean. But then I discovered there's more layer to Ashtakvarga. It's not just your birth chart. It is divisional charts. Look at the Ashtakvarga of Navamsha, Dasamsha, Horacha Earth, D2. Look at the Ashtakvarga of Sastyamsha, whichever, or especially Chatravasamsa and Chaturtatamsa. Every chart will have Ashtakvarga. Then, one thing you have to understand in the birth chart, when you look at Ashtakvarga, these points distributed by planets, okay? Don't just look at it from the ascendant. You will have wrong predictions coming. Look at it from each house. So let's say the great example would be Bill Gates. If you saw Bill Gates' 11th house of gains, he has like what, 23 points, 19 points. Anybody looking at his horoscope will be like, this person's going to be poor. And this is where I'm so glad I ran into Mark Boney to understand Ashtakvarga. Because here Mark Boney says, forget that. Look at the Arudha Lagna. Look at whatever your Arudha Lagna is, look at the Ashtakvarga from there. And I'm not going to show you some things here because that really determines, like especially looking at the wealth of a person, how much money they're going to have in their life. There's certain things you look for from Arudha Lagna and even Ghatika Lagna. And so, as I was saying, that a planet distributes certain points to a house. What happens is each planet will distribute certain points to, let's say, the 3rd house. So Jupiter is in your 6th house, and it distributes and it throws all these numbers in your chart. And your 3rd house gets 6 points. Then Mercury from the 8th house distributes certain, it throws these points out. It gives your 3rd house 3 points. Saturn is, let's say, in your 11th house. It throws all the points across your chart between 0 and 8, and it gives your 3rd house 2 points. Okay, so now you take all the 7 planets, the big planets, the Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn. All these 7 planets is going to throw some points to the 3rd house. Accumulation of that may add up to 23 points, 28 points, 38 points, 42 points. So we see the accumulated strength of that house by all the planets. So we clearly see, just without even using transits for Ashtakvarga, we see what house has the most power of the planets. Where are the planets really giving the blessings to? Which house they're giving the blessings to? And 28 is the average. Okay? 28 is the average. Below 28 becomes below average. Above 28 becomes above average. Okay? And I know this sounds like an alien language to most of you. Hopefully, I'm making it more fun by showing you how they throw these points out. But I've actually made a video on my website under shop section option 15 and 16 where I give you a private video so you can understand it, because I don't want to make a video right now on Ashtakvarga on YouTube, because a lot of people will just be running out panic and scared. I know exactly how you think. I know more about you than you think you know about yourself. I know that. I'm good at seeing that mundane psychology of people. So I've made that video. If you want to learn it sincerely, it's there, because remember, there's so many videos I see of great astrologers or articles on Ashtakvarga, but then when I see the comment section, everybody's running panic. Like, oh my God, I only have 19 points in my second house. Oh no, can you please tell me if I'm going to be rich or poor? And that, like I said, if your second house receives 19 points, does not mean that you're not going to have wealth. Then when I saw my second house and 11th house points of Ashtakvarga, I was like, oh man, I'm just going to live in poverty all my life. I'll never have a house, I'll never have a car, this and that. And then when it was coming in my life, and I'm like, there's something wrong here. And so you go deeper and deeper, and then you understand, oh, okay. So don't just look at your birth second house and 11th house accumulation. Ashtakvarga is just like Jyotish. It has its own level. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. But just by basic level 1, you get a lot of perception about things. So especially in certain situation, high points do matter. In certain situation, high points don't matter. Like I was telling you about the government job. So anytime, like I did my research on 5 or 6 people, and I've written an article on this on my website. Check out that article on astrologycares.com under article section called IAS officer or civil service person. I haven't had many people who I have done a horoscope for who were like in IAS or IPS. Very few came, because obviously most of them they're busy with their work. They're doing well as IAS officer. Only people who come to astrologer or want to know is when they're in trouble. So only very few. But when I saw their chart, that's where I really understood. Like, okay, whenever you are working in government, wanting to become an IAS officer, IPS officer, politician, IFS officer, Ashtakvarga will matter. That's why I made that video. The first layer of Ashtakvarga that I talked about, of Saturn and Sun, it matters. So, of course, if you want to see somebody who's going to have career in government, you want to first see Kendra houses, the quadrant. If let's say you see Mars, Jupiter, Sun, Saturn within Kendra, that automatically should tell you, without their sign placement, that this person is very strong about government and wanting to know about government, whether they're IT professional or not. There's something there. Like with Mars and Jupiter and Kendra can show a lawyer. Okay, so there's those combinations that shows this person will have some interest in government. Okay, but will they make it or not? That's the main question. So when I'm seeing these questions that you ask in let's say career consultation, I want to become going to IS officer. I want to give my USPC exam or whatever that is. I don't even look at the yogas if you have yogas for government or not. The very first thing that I see, what is this Ashtakvarga from Saturn and Sun? Number 1. I want to see 6th from Saturn represents, remember, it's not just votes in politics, it's competition, competitiveness. So especially when you ask me this question, I take 3 planets in accounts: Sun, Saturn, Mars. These are the 3 planets I look for, especially 6th from Mars represents How will Mars be able to compete and defeat the competition? And 11th from Mars is not really that important when I'm looking at Ashtakvarga, because that, then I'll pay attention to Sun and Saturn. Sun is government and administration. Saturn is service, civil service, okay? Social welfare, social reform. So I want to see from these two planets, what are the achievements of this person? Are they going to have high titles? See, 11th house represents recognition and achievements. What is the achievement? You go from supervisor to manager. You go from manager to district manager. You go from district manager to vice president, then president. Perhaps you become a CEO. So it's the 11th house from that planet. Then I'm looking at the 6th house for that. I'm seeing, are they going to be good at giving service? One, are they going to be good in dealing with competition, dealing with enemies, especially with IPS officer that I've had? Man, the 6th house was very, very powerful from Mars and Saturn. Not even Sun, Mars and Saturn. 6th Ashtakvarga points, 6th from Mars, 6th from Saturn were extremely powerful. That's why they are able to face enemies. They're able to go out after robbers and thieves and whoever, out there. They're not afraid. So you want to see, first of all, somebody wants to be an IPS officer. Are they just watching some movie or some news, or they're hearing their parents at dinner table, you should be an IPS officer, my name will go up high? Most of them want to do that, but then there's some, because this is where easily I can determine. I'm like, is this person really has the courage to become an IPS officer? Or are they going to just run away as soon as they see somebody else with a gun? So how do you determine that? Look at Mars. Just look at the Ashtakvarga from Mars. How many points Mars gives to the 6th and the 3rd for IPS officer. 0 to 8, between 0 to 8, how many Mars? How much courage it's giving to your actual 3rd house, which is it's a significator of. All right? Courage and your valor. And then 6th house shows, is your Mars able to defeat any competition or enemies? So if Mars loves to face enemies, so if Mars sees that, how many points is giving? And Mars gives very low points in Ashtakvarga, 39 points for everybody. So you want to see that hopefully is Mars giving good enough points. 4 becomes actually excellent with the Mars. Even though 4 is the average, 8 is max, 0 is nothing. So 4 is the average for most planets, but 4 for Saturn and Mars actually is counted like 6 points in Ashtakvarga. So this is how we really determine certain careers. For IT, you don't need to worry about Ashtakvarga. Well, I'm getting this Ashtakvarga from here or there. I've seen people with very, very low Ashtakvarga points from all sorts of planets, and they're doing well in their jobs and their work in IT or engineers or this and that. Especially like Dasamsha Ashtakvarga matters as well. But like, let's say somebody wants to become an actor, right? What is the one thing that you need for acting? Forget the talent. There are many actors without talent making money. You want to see if they have the fame. Do they get the fame? Because the more fame you have, the more money you're going to make as an actor. So now you want to see definitely 11th house of achievements and recognition, 10th house of fame, okay? And you want to see that from certain planets. And I'm going to really say it here because, again, people are going to run panic with these things. Because you have to not only see it from certain planets if they receive high points, you also want to see in divisional charts as well. Especially like the Samsha, you want to see what the Ashtakvarga is. So you can see like a person's fame, like how much fame will they have. Especially the best example would be Amitabh Bachchan. I mean, when I was studying Ashtakvarga and I saw his chart, I'm like, oh, no wonder he's like treated as a god. Like there's godly status in a chart. There are combinations where a person will be looked at as a god. And Ashtakvarga is a very, very important thing when a person looked at as this supreme thing. And especially when I studied Amitabh Bachchan and Rajnikant, Both of them. Oh my God. I mean that now that's the chart Ashtakvarga wise you want to have for that type of a status and fame. Like I mean there are many I have seen, but Ashtakvarga is, you got to remember it has a static potential. It's like it's part of a layer of a cake. You can't just look at somebody as Ashtakvarga who has 48 points and say, oh, you're gonna do fine. Go on and be successful. You can't do that. Because then the second layer comes up, right? Raj Yogas. Do they have Raj Yogas in their chart? To become a Raj, to become a Kapil Raj, to become, somebody higher than themselves. Do they have that? So, okay, fine, they have Ashtakvarga points. What is that doing? That's just one layer. When 3 or 4 things come together, this is why God gave us 5 fingers. If God just gave us this one finger, say, okay, go and work, go and write, go and do your programming with this one finger. You see, astrology and analysis are right in our hands. So not only one finger is needed, all the 4 fingers needed to hold something, to make a fist, to work. So same thing happens. Ashtakvarga, yoga, disposition of planets, dasha, the timing. And if there's any yog bhanga, like I had somebody who say, there are 7 billion people on this planet. They all gonna have some Raj Yoga or sometime. Yet you see a beggar. What? So many people are in poverty. What's going on? Well, this is where I see that you are very new to astrology. You do not know what exactly astrology requires for us to see things. Many things happen. First of all, many people who have Raj Yogas, okay, especially Parashara Raj Yogas, and I see Mahapurush Raj Yoga, Mahapurush Yogas, I see Raj Yogas, Dhan Yogas. But what happens? Why is it that you don't have money? 2 things are happening most of the time. Yog Bhanga is happening, meaning the cancellation of that yoga. Number 2, your timing. You're not running through the timing that will give you that wealth. Whoever that beggar that you saw on the street, they're probably running through a certain planet that is causing a certain thing which is giving them this life. And perhaps they might have 3 planets giving that situation. Now imagine if you were to run through Rahu, Jupiter, Saturn, Dasha simultaneously, all 3 of them are showing Yog Bhanga of Dhan Yoga or Raj Yoga. Yes, that those 18 years, 16 years, 19 years, they are going to be dealing with those things. And this is why I don't talk about Yog Bhangas. Then again, people run panic. But just like my guru, Jeffrey Armstrong said, you don't want to give somebody crutches. You don't want to show them that you have crutches. You want to show them that they can make it. So when I talk about Ashtakvarga, I'm not giving you the final thing. I'm not telling you this is it, end all and be all of everything. It's just one layer. It's just a thumb. You need to do all these 4 fingers to show something is going to happen. And especially if you really want to know, if you really want to say Raj Yogas work or not, then forget the Parashara Raj Yogas. I mean, I can show you countless Raj Yogas of people who I have in my database who are even running through that dasha and still it's not coming, while there's no Yog Bhanga either. Because of the fact, one thing I have found is Jaimini Raj Yogas. If Raj Yogas are Raj Yogas, Jaimini Raj Yogas are the emperor of Raj Yogas. Without Jaimini Raj Yogas, your car will not move forward. And I think I can confidently say that now. Your Jaimini Raj Yogas are everything. This is why I'm telling everybody who wants to sincerely understand astrology to the core, learn Jaimini astrology. And the best teacher would be Mark Boney. Mark Boney is just so refined in his way he teaches you. Within one class, you just get it. But obviously, all his 8-9 classes that you get, you truly are like, wow, no wonder, no wonder. And then Raj Yoga becomes more powerful. Jaimini Raj Yogas become more powerful from, forget even your ascendant, from Arudha Lagna, Karakamsha Lagna. One Raj Yoga that you have in the 11th house from the ascendant, let's say you have a Gemini Raj Yoga, 11th house from your ascendant. Great, okay. But in a certain position, if it's placed from your Arudha Lagna, your Karakamsha Lagna, you're talking like superior positions. But what is one thing that we forget to do with Raj Yogas in Ashtakvarga? We forget to look at them in Navamsha. So if you have a Raj Yoga in the birth chart, are they existing or some other Raj Yoga existing in Navamsha? Then you have to also see how strong is that Raj Yoga. Is that Raj Yoga being made between two debilitated planets? Or one neutral planet, the other is an enemy sign, and then they're creating a Raj Yoga? Or are they creating Raj Yoga while both are exalted, both are in their own sign? There's these different level of Raj Yogas, man. This is why if you have a Gemini Raj Yoga, which I see, I ask people, look, you should have had your success back in 2014 in this period. Not a great, not the biggest one, but something should have occurred. Because when I'm saying like, oh man, you should have had huge success, here I'm adding all these components up that I've learned in Gemini. And that's when I present like, okay, that's powerful. You know, so Ashtakvarga, and especially you can also see there are things in Ashtakvarga you learn. So in Ashtakvarga, like a planet distributes 8 points, right? Maximum of 8 points, or 0 to 8 points. So just if I was to just look at your Ashtakvarga and I studied your Mars and I see Mars receives 3 points in this particular house, I would be like, well, you're going to go through this in your life, this in your life, and that in your life. I'm not going to say what it is, because if you have those, then you'll be like, oh my God, I have it. If I saw, you know, Mars with 8 points, I can say you will have accusation of property. You will defeat at least 3 enemies really badly when it comes to this particular scenario. And you will be rewarded by this particular person around this time. So you can make prediction just from knowing the bindus, the points the planet is getting. So there are actual meaning. So if your Saturn gets 2 points in 10th house, there is specific meaning to it. It's not just good or bad. There's something happening. There's some prediction you can say or make. This is how Ashtakvarga works. So if I didn't, if you just gave me planet, okay, you didn't even give me a birth chart. You said, hey, this is my Mars, this is my Moon, this is my Sun, this is my Saturn. Sun, Moon receives 4 points, this receives 9 points, this. So I can actually say something, what is to happen in your life with some of these planets. Like if Moon is in certain house, receiving the aspect of this one planet while Moon receives 2 points or this points, something will happen during this period. I mean, there's all sorts of, like even marriage timing can be seen through Ashtakvarga points. So if let's say your 7th lord is in 5 points, and it receives the aspect of Sun, can show a person will get married at the age of 25 without looking at dashas, without looking at, you know, the chart. You can just from that. So you see how many things we have to make that one decision. That's what Ashtakvarga is. But I mean, if you want to learn it like in a very simple manner, I made a 45-minute video on my website, and you can get it and just privately view it and, you know, understand Ashtakvarga. So I think that's enough of blabbing for today, Mike. So what's going on here? Ketu, Venus, Mars conjunct in Navamsha in 9th house. Well, one of the things it shows me that the later you marry, the better it is for you. Because whenever malefic planets impact the 9th house in the birth or Navamsha, it delays the significance of marriage. So what happens is a person may get into many relationships, which is the 7th house. You're coming across people. You're coming across many people. But can you finalize that? Can you turn that into something which is a commitment for a long term, that's what's going to take time with having malefic planets in the ninth house. So I guess, how old are you? I guess are you getting married late? Whoever asked this. So Moon Mars in the ninth house of Taurus, with Venus Mercury in the sixth house of Aquarius. Well, I mean, first of all, this shows me that father was a very angry person, and also shows one would have tremendous amount of power struggles with the father, yet one will receive fixed assets like land, real estate in their life, especially in distant lands. And this also shows that one's educational pursuits, especially if you go for your postgrad education, may occur in environmental science or dealing with like DNA type science. But I don't know what your fifth house is doing, so this is like a half question, so I'm only giving you a half answer. But it also shows most definitely at the age of 32 you will go to foreign places on behalf of a large organization. And then we have Rahu as the Atmakarka. Rahu, Atmakarka moon, and Dharakarka Saturn in Leo in Navamsha. Dispositor Sun is in the 12th house. Okay, so let me get this straight. Wait a second. Well, I don't know what sign, what house are they in? Rahu the Atmakarka, or Rahu with Atmakarka moon, Dharakarka moon, or Dharakarka Saturn in Leo in Navamsha. Saturn's dispositor in the 12th house. Well, I don't know what sign it's in, but so this is a half question. I'm going to give you a half answer. Does that mean this is the answer? So first of all, it creates quite a good Raj Yoga of your Atmakarka being with Dharakarka. And what this shows, first of all, your spouse is going to be more dominating than you in a relationship. They're going to be very serious, very disciplined, structured. They're going to be very thrifty in nature. Also, because Atmakarka is conjunct Saturn and Rahu, you are going to be an expert in some field. Whatever field you're in, you're going to become a pioneer, and you're going to become a absolute expert in that field. And this is actually one of the slokas of Jaimini astrology. When the Atmakarka is in relationship, aspect, or conjunct to Saturn and to Rahu, especially Saturn, one will be a pioneer in their work. And this is written by B. Surya Narayan Rao. When I read his book on Jaimini, that's what it says. Like if your Atmakarka is conjunct Mars, either you'll be a great cook, great with fire and weapons. So when I read that and I went into my database of like 6 firefighters that I did the reading for, wow, like 3 of them had Atmakarka conjunct Mars in Navamsha, which equals to dealing with fire, dealing with weapons, sharp objects, which is what a cook does that, a fireman will do that, or policeman, or somebody who's in weapon. And also this can show you may actually have an older spouse than you. Then we have Saturn in Moola, 4th house, Saturn return. So that means you are a Virgo ascendant. And Saturn is in your 4th house. Well, what this will show, first of all, is that your mother was a person who always, like, you could not get away from your mother. She always found the secret of whatever you were hiding from her. This will also show that you're naturally always gravitating towards taking out the roots, the evil roots of people who are suffering, and plant the new roots in. Like usually I see people who are wanting to go into public service, social welfare, social reform, wanting to deal with some, things related to non-profit organization, and they want to bring some change. They want to take the old roots out because Saturn is old. Okay, Saturn represents older things. So when Saturn is in Moola, it is the root of something, right? So roots are very old. So either this person is very strong about their roots and they want to fight for it, or they want to take that wrong roots out and put in the right roots so the other people can, benefit from it. This is also showing that most definitely there could be a sudden, depending upon where your Ketu is, you could move to a faraway distant place. But what this also shows me, that your house is constructed of bricks and stones, and especially your south wall will always have this rustiness to it. So, and then also one thing I can say about Moola, especially with Saturn being there, one is actually very good in philosophy. Very good in philosophy, work related to law, because law requires you to go deep into it, deep into things, right? You are searching, you're investigating something related to your client, and you want to go to the root level of things. And this is a very good nakshatra for even spiritual work, like somebody who needs to really go to the understand life to the core. Life, like what is the meaning of life? So many things I can say here, although I'm not saying all of it, but this is what I can tell you just for right now. Rahu in Chitra in Libra, 11th house in the birth chart. That means you're a Sagittarius ascendant. Rahu co-rules the 3rd house. It's in the 11th house. Obviously shows me that one will find great amount of recognition, achievements, awards in a large organization by attaining technical skills. Skills of designing, skills related to, like mechanical, technical skills. Like somebody who can go into like AutoCAD. Somebody who may even go into jewelry designing, like exotic jewelry designing. This can really help a person shine. Chitra is creativity, and it's about a shining jewel. Rahu has the ability to overblow things, right? It's like a balloon. So usually these people find huge achievements in their life, especially 30th age. You can achieve great success, especially if Mars and Venus are both well placed. You will have great achievements at 30. So if you're over 30, let me know if you had success at 30. Success in IT from Germany. Okay, very good question. Look at the 5th house from Karakamsha Lagna, meaning take the Atmakarka, planet with the highest degree, see their position in the Navamsha. Whatever sign that they're in Navamsha, take that sign, make that sign the ascendant. Now that's your Karakamsha Lagna. From there, 5th house should have the effect of Rahu, Mercury, Mars. Will show a person who is born to be successful in fields of aeronautics, IT, new age technology. And especially from your 5th house, Rahu, Mercury, Mars must affect your 5th house, 5th lord, or Mercury. for you to do that. And especially between the ages of 18 and 28, you must run into Charadhasha, from where the fifth house is being affected by these three planets through Gemini aspects or Gemini conjunctions. And you will see, and especially obviously the better the placement is, as in like exaltation, Mool Trikon, those will really help. And obviously one thing you want to also not forget, if let's say your Mercury and Mars are creating Raj Yoga together through aspects, and then Rahu is influencing them, or they're all three conjunct, I mean, that shows great success with any kind of a new age technology. I mean, this can also show somebody who's expert in martial arts, somebody who might be great in being a magician, because magician require technical skills, technical knowledge of illusion. So a magician can be seen from it as well. Especially magicians can be seen through Ashlesha Nakshatra. Why? Because Ashlesha Nakshatra has a ability to disguise themselves of who they are. They disguise their activities. So you'll find many magicians in Ashlesha Nakshatra. Ashlesha Nakshatra also obviously represents spies, government spies. Rahu in the 7th house, Swati. Rahu Mahadasha. Oh man, this is a beautiful period to go into marketing. Marketing, PR, online marketing, affiliate marketing. I mean, here Rahu wants you to come across the masses, okay? And masses will come like a wind. Like, you know, when a wind blows, like, let's say a storm is about to come, and you see that wind gust. Like yesterday, oh my God, it was crazy. So, because 7th house represents masses of people, not just 2 or 3, I'm talking about millions of people. Rahu with this windy nakshatra of Swati can really bring you across masses of people to do business with. And Rahu in the 7th house in Swati, I mean, you're built for business. And naturally, one will be greatly attracted towards, you know, online technology, new age technology, marketing, PR work, affiliate marketing work, and, you know, just great things for that. Naturally, this shows me, I don't know how old you are, but if you're married or not, but your spouse is a very independent person. Your spouse will never be a subservient to you. So if you want your spouse to do this and stay home and this, that, you know, oh no, they're gonna be like the wind. They're gonna only move to their own beat. They're gonna march to the beat of their own soul, because there's this you know, branch of bush that is gonna move only through the wind, not on the direction. Not when you say move, they're only gonna win when the wind comes in. They only move on their rhythm of the nature. And this also shows, well, I don't know exactly where your 7th lord is, so I can't really say much about that then. Venus in Kritika Nakshatra. Oh man, you've got some scandals going, don't you? You got some hidden secret affairs going. Venus in Kritika Nakshatra, definitely it may make a person gravitate towards all kinds of secret affairs, having, you know, especially they're attracted to having relationship with powerful people for their own benefit. Like they want to go and date the senator, the president, whoever. They're very fond of fire rituals, very good with cooking. Especially with Venus in Kritika, your spouse will constantly love to eat. All day munch on something. Most of the time they do wear glasses, like reading glasses. Your spouse may feel like she's adopted. He or she, whoever they are, might be feeling adopted. Your spouse will love mountain climbing with Kritika Nakshatra. Your spouse will either want to adopt a pet, adopt a child, or may foster some child in their life. Your spouse will love eating hot foods. Definitely, you will, once you marry, your spouse will adopt some pet. And if Venus is your Atma Karka, Venus is your ascendant lord, most definitely you are wanting to adapt. There's a natural tendency to chew tobacco or always have some gum, like chewing gum or something. Naturally, these people are destined to be like CEOs, CFOs of companies. So, I mean, is that right? I mean, whatever I said here about Venus and Kritika, I don't know how old you are. Let me know. Venus has Atmakarka in Ashlesha Nakshatra. That is very, very interesting. Like I was telling you just about the Ashlesha Nakshatra. These people, first of all, if Venus is your Atmakarka, you are definitely going to work on your eyes. You have these hypnotic eyes. You can like tangle anybody. I mean, that's your best weapon there. You know, having this having this power. Ashwini or Ashlesha Nakshatra will not care if they cheat on people. They will not care if they seduce somebody while they're dating somebody. There's no remorse, and this is something you should watch out for. Don't ever cheat people. Don't ever cheat on your spouse. You know, if you feel like your spouse is not giving you what you want and you suddenly found somebody, make sure you go away from tell your spouse, I can't be with you. I'm done. I need to go. But if you like cheat behind their back, that's the Nagas are not going to be happy. See, Ashlesha is controlled by the Nagas. Nagas are the species of people. They're actually people. Species of people living 7,000 deep beneath the surface of Earth. They are the controller of Ashlesha Nakshatra. So if you cheat, they will bite. So don't cheat on people, whether it's business or anything. You naturally love to curl around when you sleep. You naturally like to curl around the other person when you're sleeping. Usually you always have like a leaking tap in your home where water is coming out. Great nakshatra for going into fields of chemicals and medicinal fields, or like I was saying, becoming a spy. Very good with business. Very good with business. Naturally attracted to mystical things. And you strike without thinking. You strike on people without thinking. Like if somebody comes after you without even questioning why are you, boom, you will strike them. So is that something, I don't know if you're going to ever confirm this with me, but let me know if any of that resonates or is true. What is my research on what environmental activities like PETA, Greenpeace, it's very easy, very simple. Environmental science or worrying about environment. Two things, Moon and Punarvasu Nakshatra. Punarvasu Nakshatra is a nakshatra of people who are very much adamant about saving the planet, saving, wanting to help animals, or, collecting cans. Moon in Jaimini astrology, Vedic, like Parashara Vedic astrology, represents environment. So especially if your moon is in the 5th house, in Navamsha, in the birth chart, aspects the 5th house, is conjunct the 5th lord, usually a person will be attracted towards going to fields of environmental science, especially with Jupiter, Jiva biology, Moon, which is environment. Both of them come together. This person is all about environment. They're all about saving the environment, saving the animals. They can see cruelty upon the earth or cruelty upon a living being. So, I mean, that's I've seen that many, many times. Yeah, Shlesha Moon. Yeah. So one thing you just gotta know: never ever just cheat on people with Ashlesha Moon or Atmakarka and Ashlesha, because you want to please the Nagas. Nagas are testing you deep beneath. There is a race of people 7,000 feet below the planet, which are known as the Nagas. So Venus in Bharani Nakshatra. Well, depend if it's your Atmakarka or is it like just a seventh lord, depends. So if let's say Venus represents, your spouse, or Venus can represent you if it's your ascendant lord or your Atmakarka. This can show there's going to be a lot of sensor resistance. There will be some, again, not all of them will do this, but some relationship will end up being with a cousin, like a first cousin or second cousin, somebody within the family. Okay. And it's quite normal back in the days. My aunts and uncles, they have all married within the second cousins and all that. I mean, back then it was a culture. They will like to sport a beard or a goatee if they're male. Whenever they talk to people, they kind of like always are busy doing something and then try to talk. Like when you ask them a question, hey, what do you think about the movie I watched? It's like, yeah, I think it was a really good movie, and I didn't like that. And they will be just doing something. Like never, they will look into eye when they grow up, especially as young babies. They will always like look on the side, like, yeah. And then one thing they will always have this tendency of saying, I'm done, I'm finished, all done. Especially children will have tendency of saying, oh, all done, I'm done. Then also you will notice with Venus or with your spouse, they will feel this feeling of being adopted or having some issue with the mother at one point. Usually they are attracted towards being either midwives, gynecologist, because they love doing ovarian observations. They're always fascinated with death. These are the people who want to know life after death type scenarios. Very devoted to God, very devoted to justice. Like they're all about justice. I need to get justice for my friend or myself. A lot of hard work comes in before success comes in. But success comes in, but they have to work towards that. They love bright objects, bright colors, especially pink is their favorite color. What else? There's many things with Bharani. There's natural tendency to go into an astral body, out of body experiences with that. And either they will love their siblings or completely hate their siblings. Yeah, Yashi's sleeping right there. Yashi, look, they're calling you, bro. I guess he's meditating in his response. Venus in Aradhra Nakshatra. Venus in Atmakarka Mriksira Nakshatra. Man, you guys are just all about nakshatras today. So, let's say Venus in Mriksira Nakshatra. If it's your Atmakarka, or you can learn about your spouse. Naturally, they will be addicted to some substance, whether it's alcohol, smoking, weed, marijuana, something. There's some need for always drinking the elixir. Remember, Mriksira is about the elixir. They always feel like by drinking some elixir, they're becoming immortals. So they will have that. They love to chase. Either they're going to be chased or they will be chased. Either they like to stalk people or they will be stalked. They are fascinated with that chase. And once they get that chase and grab it, then they're over it. Like some girl, like always wanting to go after this one guy. Or some guy going after this one girl. Always chasing. But once they have it, and once they slept with that person, and they're like, all right, I'm not really attracted to this person anymore. Next one. They have quite a good sense of smell. Very good with writing, very good, artists. They always have this tendency to draw crescent moon. Like whether, like they'll always take a coin. If you're in a class, you'll take a coin and you'll draw like some circle and some crescent moon. Naturally pleasure seeking. They love foresty areas. Love for perfumes, and especially their most sensitive part is behind their ear. They get aroused when you touch them behind their ears. Usually, they may have children before marriage. A woman will like guys who has spiked hairs. Spiked hair, like like a goat, spiked hair, and usually they will have like bushy eyebrows. They love adult entertainment, strip clubs, porn, and whatnot. They love that. Naturally attracted towards astrology, tarot. Very, very like, and they're expert in sexual activities, expert in sex, because they probably watch so much, they learn, oh, this is what I need to do. So they're very good with that. So I don't know if that is that true with Venus in Mrigashira. Venus in Aradhra. Dude, come on. What's up with you guys, man? With all these... Okay, so Venus in Aradhra. What can we say with Venus in Aradhra Nakshatra? Well, first of all, if it's your Atmakarka, Ascendant Lord, or it will represent your wife. Naturally, they're loners. They move away from their family, far away from their family. Always have parental issue with one of the parents, either mother or father or both. There may be some complication around birth. Aradhra can show you may possess a three-mukhi Rudraksh in your life. Women become very masculine, very manly with this nakshatra. And by the way, all this knowledge that I have of nakshatra is thanks to Dr. Arjun Pai. I'm getting these private lessons from Dr. Arjun Pai on nakshatra. Nothing compares to it. Nothing. He is the master blaster of nakshatras. They love exotic animals, either love eating exotic animals, collecting exotic animals. Sometimes when they speak from their nose. They are naturally social outcasts, very good actors, very good with technology, new age technology, information technology. They also quite make good surgeons or diplomats. They like to live in isolated places, like somewhere out in the boonies. And they may also experience crop circles around them, especially where crop circles are in middle of the field in UK. And you never know. If you live next to Parash Trivedi, the great person who came, hey man, you'll definitely see crop circles because he has the ability to create crop circles. And he is, and believe me on that, there's no joke. He is very, very powerful. So I don't know if that is that true with the Venus in Aradhra. I'm asking these questions because I'm learning them myself. Venus in Vishaka, oh man, you're gonna have a spouse with split personalities and very much an organizer, somebody who wants to pioneer, entrepreneur. But as always, guys, the time has come for me to depart. But yeah, I'm actually going to bring, well, not yet. I won't bring it yet. I'll bring it later on. This new option on my website. Because I'm still trying to, man, I'm telling you, Dr. Pai, he needs to start teaching one-on-one. I told him, you need to start teaching nakshatras one-on-one. because a person will grasp it and they will be ready to go. He is, I just don't know what to say. He's unbelievable when it comes to nakshatras. He can rip apart your life like this. He'll look at the chart. He's like the Ashtakvarga planet. He just throws out things which you're like just looking at him like, oh my God, how does this guy know so much about me? But what about Venus in Aratra or Mrigashira? You guys haven't confirmed if it's true or not. Can anybody confirm it, please? For me, please? Please! Okay, so it's right. Okay, good, good. So I've learned well from Dr. Pai. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Jai Hind. तब तक के लिए आज्ञा दीजिए. नमस्कार.